Hello everybody, I am Angry Bird. We are back with another cast, still Division 2, League Group 1, Game/Leg 1. We have Herr versus Lossa. On the left hand side in red we have Herr playing the 2E Blinde, the French Armoured, and he is playing Vanguard Income. Let's have a quick look at the deck on the screen. Interestingly enough, no Recon M8 vehicles, so quite strange for a French deck. And those volunteers in C are kind of his backup infantry, with the Char M4A2s in C as well. And interestingly enough, 12 M10s in C phase. So 2 cards of M10s in A phase, and perhaps that's to cover for the lack of Recon M8s. But other than that, seems fairly standard, relying on the P3 bombers for his Air Force. And let's have a look at who he's up against. We have Lossa, who's playing the 14th Infantry, also on Vanguard. So, let's have a look at the deck. He does have the 3 Aufklärer in A phase. Ersatztruppen to start off, and a lot of people do not like the Ersatztruppen at the moment. They can be easily exploited, but the advantage is you can get a lot of them out for a cheap price. The 6 Panzer II Lux in A phase will be looking to come up against those M8s, and they could do the job. It'll be an interesting little battle, the M8s against the Lux. He's going for 2 Tigers in A phase and 2 in, it looks like 2 or I think that's possibly 3 in B phase. Unfortunately, I haven't got it quite zoomed in good enough. So yeah, the Tigers are going to be important in this contest because the French are really going to struggle to take out those Tigers. Early game though, the anti-tank for Lossa, only 3 Russian M42 guns there, so could get into trouble against the number of units that the French can put out, you know, the number of M8s and Shermans, so that'll be interesting, although he is on the same income level, so perhaps that will mitigate some of the advantage that the French usually have. So, let's get into the game and let's have a look at the deployment. So, obviously, Herr on the left-hand side, going heavy, quite a few places. Lossa on the right-hand side, very much heavy in the south area, and the northern area, just a few light troops. This is Truppen, potentially all that's going to be there to hold off this northern side, although Herr not really pushing there. Everything's going into the centre and south cities for both players really, so it will be interesting how the game progresses. In terms of infantry in the city, I mean, I think overall in the long run the 14th Infantry, you know, has the potential to win out in the infantry game. I think in the long run they have more infantry that is better equipped, but if Herr gets those Shermans into support the French infantry, they certainly are not to be underestimated in the infantry front, especially with the Mitre 12.7 HMGs that come in. They are certainly good machine guns. Herr almost at the vanguard of his forces there as the French advance on the left hand side. So, getting ready for the first clashes of the game, and it looks like it's going to be in the centre ground. Lossa coming in with the FK288s, interestingly in the Opel Blitz there. I guess that is actually the fastest on-road for the Germans. Turning off north, so just avoiding the M8s coming in, and these M8s could deal a lot of damage. Surely will take out that Grenadier DP. Just unloads in time, as well as the other Grenadier DP, although into the face of Flammenwerfers or Flamers for the French. One of them gets surrendered here, Robert quickly moving the M8 forward to get that surrender. The other one looking in trouble. Lossa really needs to back off that Grenadier DP. In the little compound in the north, Ersatztruppen come up straight against Flamers, and Flamers shouldn't be able to get off their flamethrowers at this range, so the Ersatztruppen should win that out, although the supporting M8 should come in and hopefully clear that up. The FK288 needs to take out those M8s to ensure that he keeps hold of this compound. The Ersatztruppen do win out, but they are highly stressed, and the Voltigeurs could come in and just quickly clean them up. Looks like that's going to be the case. So the second, I think they were the Panzergrenz. The second Panzergrenz in the town have gone down to surrenders. The southern section, Lossa pushing forward with Begleit Pioneers. They are fantastic infantry units, but nothing has anti-tank right now. So Herr Robert certainly using the M8s. 2 grenades go out, one of the M8s goes down. So Lossa managing to take those out and pushing forward with the Panzer II Lux, which can take on the M8s, although the Char M4A2 there in the back will be much more difficult. One of the Panzer II Lux going down. Lossa moving his Stug round south, and potentially that's to make sure there's no flanks coming from Herr Robert. In the centre, the Stern Pioneers come up, take up positions, and will beat the Flamers out if they get into the correct position. We were right, the Voltigeurs did take that central compound from the Ersatztruppen, although they did manage to fall back. Just one guy on his own now, falling back. The M8s of Herr Robert not in a great position. Looks like the FK288 did manage to get some key shots off against them. And so far this game has started off fairly even. Lossa pushing forward with the Stosstroop have captured a flak in the rear of Herr Robert, and as soon as he picks that up, Herr Robert should get the ever so slight lead. So fairly even. It looks like there's a break in action while both players are organising the next moves, and Herr Robert bringing in the Cannon 57mm, 3 M10 tank destroyers, as well as 2 another Sherman and another 2 M10 tank destroyers. So wow, heavy reinforcement into that town. Lossa pretty much doing the same, although he is reinforcing the southern section with a lot more infantry, so it's going to be interesting. There is going to be a balance of armour on the side of Herr Robert in terms of numbers, but in terms of quality, well, the Tiger E of Lossa is the best tank in the game for this matchup. Does fall back to both M8s firing at it, although I'm not sure it will lose out unless it shows side armour. Even the M4A2 will struggle to penetrate from the front, so I think Herr Robert's kind of moving that round, trying to get a side shot there, and Lossa has to be careful with the Tiger, but I don't think he's going to lose it at the moment. The transmission is damaged though, so that isn't going to be fantastic. Look at this, Lossa pushing forward over open ground, trying to get in a better position to take hold of that flag, but Herr Robert with the Voltigeurs, as soon as they spot the Stosstroop, yeah, in comes fire from across the ridge. I think the M10 tank destroyers, and down goes the Stosstroop. That will recover the flag for Herr Robert, and he will get the 13-11 lead. So, a lot of reinforcement coming into this southern side for Herr Robert, and I'm guessing he's hoping to capture and take hold of this ridge, this flag and the ridged area, and it's going to be very difficult for Lossa to push back up there if he loses the position. The Begleit Pioneers, exceptional infantry units, but they will not fare well when being fired from the vehicles of Herr Robert without opportunity to, nothing there to support them and fire back. So I imagine they will go down. The Stug on the bottom has made its way around and looks like a beautiful little flank here. Looks like Lossa's, yeah, he's going for the backfield area of Herr Robert, and the Stug goes down. So yeah, switching positions, switching attacks. So definitely the right decision there for Lossa. It would have been exceptional to see him push all the way through there, and it was a nice little move, and it was unfortunate the Stug lost out to the Char M4A2. And this reinforcing infantry can't come any sooner, because he's down to 2 Beglite Pioneers, and they look like they're going to surrender. The M4A2 pushing forwards. At least the Grenadier DP now has the Panzerfaust, which can threaten the units on Herr Robert's side. Looks like Lossa's reinforcing the northern sector, which perhaps he's trying to... Yeah, he is trying to push forward through to this compound, and should be able to do that once those Voltigeurs are revealed. Looks like Lossa pushed up a Flakverin and was hoping to get it into a nice position, but he's having to retreat that. And the Tigerie at the moment as well, he's having to retreat back across the river, so I think he's given up on this southern flank. He's pulling back whatever forces he can and retreating them back across the river. I think he is outmatched here in terms of the number of units, so Robert definitely deciding to reinforce this southern section, but Lossa focusing elsewhere. He has managed to pick back up the central compound, although because he lost the southern flag, that does remain at a 13-11, but these Ersatztruppen, if he moves them through, they will be unopposed. Does just lose them, I think. Yeah, the M8 does just have the line of sight, and beautifully positioned from Herr Robert, you know, just protecting that road from any flank. Lossa pushing forward with more troops in that central ground, and well, hopefully he can make some ground there. There's certainly opportunity. If it wasn't for these two M8s here, he would probably have this town now. So yeah, I guess that's a good call. He's struggling on this southern side to maintain position, so interesting. There's 4 advancing M10 destroyers, and they're taking shots at the rear supply road of Lossa, and this Stug 3G is battling with 4, and as well as a cannon 57mm, so he's not going to win out in that battle. Does manage to gun jam one of the M10 tank destroyers. He needs to get this Tiger, yeah, back into a position where he can take on these forces, because the Tiger's his best bet at the moment. Not the M10s can still penetrate the Tiger, but it's only a small chance. So that Tiger's definitely his best bet of holding off this sort of southern push. More infantry coming in now, and it's difficult to know whether this is the right call for Lossa. He does have to get some infantry in to kind of hold the ground, but I think maybe, you know, maybe couple of anti-tank guns in positions along this tree line might serve him better at the moment. I'm thinking he's not mentally given up this southern flag, but we have the advantage of seeing what Herr Robert's got, and if I don't think he's got a chance of taking that southern flag back. So movements up in the central. Lossa committing forces to that central area. Again, the M8 takes out an advancing Ersatztruppen before they can get out of the transport. The Panzer II Lux pushing forward, as well as an Opel Blitz munitions, and potentially going to fix up this Stug 3G. Yeah, I think that's why he's brought it in. Surprising, really. Maybe he originally ordered it for a Tiger, and he's moved positions. There was a Tiger actually in this central area which must have been taken down, which yeah, here it is. Look, we missed that. Unfortunately we missed that, and it was, I remember now, they were shooting at it from this ridge and getting side shots. So yeah, I'm guessing that's why he brought the supply truck in, and then he repositioned after he lost that tank. Herr Robert really has taken control of the southern side, and Lossa's now got to give up hopes of taking that flag. It's just one flag at the end of the day. He needs to reconcentrate forces elsewhere, and he is doing that. So hopefully in the long run, you know, he can recover from this position. Herr Robert not willing to give up there. He is moving Voltigeurs out into the open, and maybe he's going to push over this bridge. But I can see that being difficult with the supply route being so close to the spawn. I mean, Lossa does need to bring in some anti-tank guns, but I remember, if we remember looking back at his deck, he only had the Russian 42 mil anti-tank guns, and he's relying on the Tigers really to be his heavy anti-tank presence. I think Herr Robert at the moment is playing the numbers game in this southern area, and it's certainly doing him well, but look at this push through the central GAN, the Panzer IIs out into the open, the Ersatztruppen surrendering the infantry in the forest. Lovely move by Lossa, absolutely lovely move. Look at this territory gain. Look at this territory gain. I mean, I guess he could pressure this central flag if he continues with these Panzer IIs, but I think he's got to move south now and kind of try and invest. He could, if this went on, he could potentially look for a complete flank. Wow, we've missed this in the southern side. Herr Robert pushing over an M8, trying to get the surrender on the Tiger, and look at that. Oh my god, fantastic. Let's see if we can use a new feature, and let's try and get a replay of that. Okay, so let's have a replay of that. Fantastic move in the southern area. So Herr Robert must have pushed that M8 across the bridge, seeing the Tiger in trouble. Gets around the corner, and look at that beautiful side shot. Fantastic work. So let's get back to the action. And Herr Robert, look at that, pushing infantry over the central ground, and wow, moves from both players. I mean, this is a very movement-oriented game. Like, fantastic moves. This is not a static game. This is World War II. That's for sure. Look at all the vehicles on this ridge. Unbelievable. Look at Herr Robert. 3 M8s set up on this ridge. Fantastic. It's exceptional use of this French deck. Absolutely. It's really rare to see the way that he's using this French deck. Usually you see them, push through in very centralised position, but he's using them as fire support here to hound the supply lines, and fantastic work. He's almost got these Voltigeurs into the buildings, but is he going to get if he gets those Voltigeurs into the buildings, they're going to be much harder for Lossa to get out of there. And well, Lossa's central push, it looks like both Panzer II Luchsers have gone down. The Ersatztruppen has managed to get into the buildings and is being supported by Pioneer SVTs that should do well at range against the sappers. The looks like the M42 is trying to flank round, although perhaps not aware that this Russian anti-tank gun is in position and is actually taking fire from the Tiger E, so rightly backs that onto the road, but that's actually going to help him really, because he needs to bring it down this road to support against the Pioneer SVTs. In come the M8s, and look at that, perfect fire support, perfect positioning. SVTs no anti-tank weaponry, so doesn't have to worry too much about that play. Lossa reinforcing with Tigers, and that's all he can really use right now to take on just the numbers of equipment. I mean, look at the fire coming off this ridge. Absolute fantastic. Herr Robert pushing forward, trying to reveal the infantry in that position. Yeah, the Schwerungs, I guess maybe he was thinking that was Ersatztruppen. Lossa throughout the game has relied on infantry that doesn't have anti-tank weaponry, and I guess Herr Robert made the assumption that that was more Ersatztruppen and tried to reveal them. So they will eventually, I'm sure, take out the M8. I'm surprised they're taking so long to take that M8 out, but more fire coming in from that ridge against these Tigeries, but really the Tigeries have the advantage in terms of numbers, so the problem is they're just continually getting stressed out by the amount of fire that's coming at them. So it's Yeah, it's interesting who's going to win that out in the long run. I have the feeling that Herrobert's going to win it in the long run, but another Tiger coming in, and Lossa just needs to get enough units there to fight back against the onslaught of fire coming off that ridge. Herrobert has cleared up this central area, and with that, along with the flag in the centre here, and taking this flag in the main city, he is now up to a 15-9. He, if things stay the same, he will win the game in 9 minutes' time, and really for Lossa, it's a struggle now getting back this position. There's no income difference. The French equipment generally likely to be cheaper than a lot of the German equipment, so he doesn't really have an economic advantage at this point, and he's kind of got to rely on these 3 Tigers now to clear up a lot of this supporting units, and then he can push forward again. I mean, Herrobert perhaps not concentrating on this city, but if he moves forwards, he can easily take out the Stern Pioneer, especially with the supporting fire that will come off this ridge, and also push through and take out the Ersatztruppen. So there's potentially a lot of room for Herrobert to continue his attacks. He's now up to a 16-8, having captured the central compound, and the Tiger's really the main threat to him moving forwards. But he doesn't really have to move forwards there. As long as he holds that position, he will win out in the end. Up to a 17-7 now, picking up the flag on the bridge right at the bottom. So Lossa will lose in 8 minutes unless he pulls something out of the bag, but it's difficult to see now what is going to happen. The Stern Pioneers taking out the Voltigeurs, although now comes the supporting fire, just as I said it would do. And looks like the Char M4A3 at the back is helping out, and Herrobert bringing in these Char M4A3s to take out the Tigers. They can penetrate, but again, the chances are much smaller than the Tiger has to penetrate them. Pushing forwards with infantry, securing that bridgehead really, and setting up into the city. It's going to be, well, Lossa cannot root out any of these units until he deals with this ridge. So, you know, I understand it's difficult for him. He can't really bring anything else in until he takes out this ridge line. So, really difficult. Yeah, looks like he's trying to pull back this compound and at least, you know, bring back a flag in his favour in that area and hopefully make some progress. It looks like Herrobert's bringing in the 57 mil cannons, you know, to help him out. It's difficult to see what else Lossa's going to do at this point to pull back the game. So Herrobert now pushing forward with the M4A2 over the bridge and finally has a vehicle in place. Lossa simultaneously is sort of pushing south, I guess, to get the two-pronged attack on, and this is interesting. They are going to face off against each other. Lossa's Tiger does start firing at the ridge and will let Herrobert know he's there. Yeah, immediately holds position, does not want to tangle too heavily with that Tiger and needs to wait for the right opportunity to attack. Lossa now bringing in a lot of Pioneer SVTs, and he is trying to take back this main city area. Really needs to be careful not to lose them at range to the Voltigeurs. Doesn't load one perfectly on time. Does have to worry about the others. Just gets them out in time again. And the third, perfect micro there. So those SVTs, again, no anti-tank infantry. Does lose one of them in the transport, and the M4A2 just comes around the corner, faces straight up against them, surrenders one immediately. How can you reply to that? Herrobert, amazing at this game. Certainly one of the top 4 players, that is for sure. And this has been a commanding display. 5 minutes left on the clock. Lossa could pull something back, but it's difficult to see exactly where that's going to come from. The Tiger in the north is falling back, and this gives Herrobert a fantastic opportunity to push forwards with more vehicles, and I'm surprised he isn't pushing these M8s with just a normal move command. The M4A2 one M4A2 does go down now in the city, and the Tigery in the very southern side taking fire. Lossa has now picked off a hell of a lot of units on this ridge. Just really the anti-tank guns left remaining, and finally gets the SK-18 artillery fire back onto this southern ridge. But Herr Robert, he has done all of those units, did the job for him, did fantastic work for him. So he has lost a hell of a lot of units there now, but I don't think he's in trouble, that is for sure. I think he has secured this game. 4 minutes left. Lossa not giving up, still continuing to fight hard, and does need to clear out this central area. If he can clear this out, you know, that's 2 flags back into his possession. Herr Robert does take out one of the central flags, so he's now up to 18-6. 2 minutes left on the clock. Lossa will clear up this southern side with all the SVTs coming in, and unfortunately for him it's just a little bit too late. The Tiger in the central area, we've missed that one go down as well. That's unfortunate, and down goes the AT gun. There was an AT gun there that just went down, probably to the fire of the M4A2s, and yeah, they are pushing forwards now. They see the opportunity. Down goes the Tiger, down goes the anti-tank gun. That's going to be Lossa's main anti-tank weaponry, and Herr Robert making the assumption that there's nothing else there and getting that guess right, really. Pushing forwards. Lossa is recovering this town area now, and you know, I can see him pushing back quite heavily against this southern side. If Herr Robert doesn't reinforce in the long run, he will push this back, but there's only, well, less than 2 minutes on the clock, so I think Herr Robert has this one. Lossa pushing forward in the centre, and if he runs over the forces through the centre, you know, there are still opportunities for Lossa here. So Herr Robert pushing forwards again, capturing another flag, and I think there's been a couple of times where Lossa hasn't had the anti-tank weaponry on his infantry, and it feels like he's lost out for that, but it's difficult. I guess in the preparation he planned on using the Tigers. You know, they're heavy, they are the heavy tank of this engagement, and certainly, as we've seen in the southern side, they are difficult to take out unless, you know, you pull a move where the M8 comes round and side shots while it's falling back. I mean, other than that, Herr Robert has struggled to take out those Tigers. He has taken out a couple of them, but it's taken him a long time to do so. But on the other hand, the Tigers, they are expensive units, so it's always a balancing act, and this time it feels like it's fallen in favour of Herr Robert. Herr Robert bringing in the P3 into the central area, strafing that AT gun, but not much use of aircraft on either side throughout this game, including artillery as well. Herr Robert's really only had the mortar half-track in the southern area, but there we go, there's the game. Herr Robert wins it, 24 minutes, 33 seconds, and what a fantastic game that was. That was a really beautiful display. Both players, I mean, Lossa lost out in that game, but he's got to be proud of that display. I think coming up against Herr Robert, a fantastic player, and the way that he pushed Herr Robert in that central area, that was fantastic to look at. Really enjoyed casting this game. Let's have a look at the kills and losses. Very even. Look at that. Incredibly even. I wouldn't have guessed that from watching the game. So let's have a look at the kills for Herr Robert. The M8s certainly did the job. Look at the kill list for the M8s. 1 Stosstruppen, 1 Panzer II Lux, their kind of main threat there at the very start, and 3 Ersatztruppen down. Lambert in the M8, taking out the Tiger E. That was the move around the south where we got our instant replay, and hopefully you saw that and that worked well. It's a little feature I'm working on. Hopefully we'll bring it in more often, or we'll bring it in at the right times, and hopefully we'll work a bit to make sure that it perhaps improves the casts. So that M8 look, it took out the Panzer II Lux, it took out the Begleit Pioneer, which is a fantastic unit. The quicker you can take out those Begleit Pioneers, the better. And the Tiger A, I mean, what a star. That has to be the unit of this game, that's for sure. The other M8 taking out a Stug 3G, a Pak 40, a Panzer II Lux. I mean, look at the value that Herr Robert has got out of those M8s. Unbelievable. The Char M4A2 taking out 2 Stug 3Gs as well as the Begleit Pioneers. Great work with that Stugs, and the rest of the time I think they were set up on the ridge to take on the rest of Lossa's forces. Wow. Really exciting game. Thanks very much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the new overlay of the stream and the instant replay feature. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Hopefully we'll improve it so it's even better. But certainly a new feature for me. And thanks very much for watching. Comment about the game down below. Let me know your thoughts. I will read all my comments. I'm happy to talk back and tell you what I thought about the game. And if you want to see more Steel Division content, there is more coming up. Please subscribe to make sure you don't miss all of the action. Thanks very much for watching. I will see you next time.